This is the weekend of Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all our dads out there. And to begin, we're gonna talk today about loving your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? Well, some of the Jewish leaders back in Jesus' day asked him this question: who is my neighbor? And Jesus told them a parable about the Good Samaritan. I'm going to read that parable to you. One day, a man who knew the law stood up and he tried to test Jesus. He said, "What do I have to do to live forever?" "What does the law say?" Jesus asked. It said to love your God with all your heart and love God with all your soul. Love God with all your strength and love God with all your mind. Love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. "You're right," Jesus said. "Do all that and you will live." But the man wasn't happy with that answer, so he asked, "Who is my neighbor?" And Jesus answered him with the story. There once was a man who was on a trip. He was going to Jerusalem from Jericho. But robbers jumped out at him, and they took his possessions, and they left him injured and sick, laying by the road. He was unable to help himself. And soon a priest came down the road, and he saw the hurt man, but he moved to the other side of the road, and he walked right on by. The man knew the law came down the road, and he saw a hurt man too. But he moved to the other side of the road, and the lawman passed right by. Then a man from another land came down the road, and he saw that it was a Samaritan. And he didn't see he was a Samaritan. And he saw the hurt man, and he felt sorry for him. The Samaritan man bandaged the man up, put the man on his own donkey, and then he took the man to an inn and got a room for him so that he could rest until he was healed. And the next day, the same Samaritan man took his own money, and he gave some to the person in charge of the inn. He said, "Take care of this man. I'll come back and pay what it costs to take care of him." And then Jesus asked the man who knew the law, he said, "Which man was the neighbor?" And then the man answered, "The man that was kind was the neighbor. The man that took care of the Samaritan laying on the road." "That's right," Jesus said. "Now you go and do the same thing." What do you think of those first two men that didn't stop to help that injured man? What should you do if you see someone who is injured? How would you act? Would you act like some of the priests or the lawmen and just kind of walk by? Or would you be that Samaritan and help? Nowadays, that was a long time ago, but nowadays that's question still in our minds. What do you do to help somebody that's maybe hurt or maybe not hurt? You ever heard of paying it forward? Sometimes I've had it happen to me, and I've actually done it myself, where I'm in a restaurant, I've had somebody pay for my food. And then sometimes if I'm able to, if I'm in the, right now in our lines of fast food, I'll pay for the car that's behind me. Those are things that help others. We try to be kind to our neighbors. Do you? Do you help maybe your neighbor that needs their lawn raked? Maybe you could get their mail for them. Those are all kind acts of kindness. There's a book I like to read. It's called What Should I Do? Why should I help? Why should I help? There's many reasons, but I guess at the end it says the main reason why. Because you know what? Who knows? The next person that might need help is you. We talked about being kind to others, treating others as you want to be treated. If you need help, who's going to come help you? Another book to read is Love Your Neighbor. Stories. Hopefully you have some books at home you could read about helping. And if you don't, you could always find your Bible. And there's lots of stories in it about helping. But it's kind of nice to read stories that relate to nowadays too. Happy Father's Day again. Try and help a neighbor this week. And we'll see you next week.